Hana could not focus on her regular duties. The human's words kept echoing in her mind. She needed to know more about this species that claimed to use fear as a teacher instead of an enemy. She went to the ship's data center. Officer Dahi was working at one of the research stations. Dahi was young but very good with information systems. "I need you to search for everything we have about humans," Hana said. "Basic profile data, Commander? Or military intelligence?" "Everything. History, culture, biology, psychology. I want to understand how they think." Dahi looked surprised but began typing commands. "This might take some time, Commander. Humans are a relatively new species in galactic records, but they have been very active." "What do you mean by active?" "They have made contact with many species in a short time. They have established trade agreements, cultural exchanges, research, partnerships. It is unusual for such a young civilization." The first files appeared on Hana's screen. She began reading about human history. What she found disturbed her more than she expected. The humans had fought wars that lasted for years. Not just wars between different species, but wars between groups of their own kind. They had created weapons that could destroy entire cities. They had survived plagues that killed millions of their people. But that was not the disturbing part. The disturbing part was what they did after the wars ended. Instead of wiping out their enemies completely, they rebuilt their cities. They shared their medical knowledge. They created organizations to prevent future wars. They turned their deadliest enemies into close allies within a few generations. "Dahi," Hana called out. "Look at this. After the humans fought a terrible war, they helped their enemies recover. Why would they do that?" Dahi came over to look at the screen. "That does seem strange, Commander. Most species either destroy their enemies completely or keep them weak to prevent future threats. But humans make them strong again. It makes no strategic sense. Maybe they are not thinking strategically. Maybe they are thinking differently." Hana continued reading. She found information about human entertainment that shocked her. They created stories and movies designed to scare themselves. They built machines that spun them around at dangerous speeds just for fun. They jumped out of flying vehicles with only a piece of cloth to slow their fall. "They seek out fear," she whispered. "They actually enjoy being afraid." "Commander?" Dahi asked. "Look at this. Humans pay money to be frightened. They create artificial dangers for entertainment. They call it fun." Dahi read over her shoulder. "Horror movies, roller coasters, extreme sports, haunted houses." She paused. "Commander, they have places called haunted houses where they pay to have actors jump out and scare them. But why? According to this article, they say it helps them feel more alive. The fear releases chemicals in their brains that make them feel excited and energized." Hana sat back in her chair. No wonder her fear projection had not worked on Jiho. If humans spent their free time seeking out fear, then a little psychic terror might actually be pleasant for them. "What else do we have?" she asked. Dahi pulled up more files. Military records from species that have fought humans. Medical reports on human biology. Economic data from human trade partnerships. The military records were the most disturbing. Not because humans were particularly good fighters. Many species were stronger or faster. But because of how they fought. When humans were losing a battle, they did not surrender or run away. They adapted. They changed their tactics in the middle of the fight. They used their enemy's strengths against them. They turned disasters into opportunities. One report described a human military leader who had been completely surrounded by enemy forces. Instead of trying to break out, he convinced the enemy commander to meet for negotiations. During the meeting, he explained how much money the enemy was spending on the siege and offered a trade agreement that would be more profitable than conquest. The siege ended with a business partnership. "They negotiate while fighting," Hana said. "Even when they are losing, they are looking for ways to make their enemies want to stop being enemies." "Is that bad?" Dahi asked. "It is terrifying," Hana replied. "An enemy who wants to destroy you is predictable. But an enemy who wants to understand you and find common ground, that is much more dangerous." She pulled up the medical files. Human biology was fascinating and horrifying. Their bodies were designed for endurance, not strength. They could run for hours without stopping. They could survive in environments that would kill most other species. They could eat almost anything and drink water that would poison other creatures. But the most disturbing thing was their brains. Human brains were constantly creating new connections. They never stopped learning and adapting. Even adult humans could completely change their personalities and abilities if they needed to. They evolved during their own lifetimes, Hana breathed, not just as a species over millions of years. Individual humans can become completely different people if they need to. Commander, Dahi said quietly, I found something else. Reports from Valdorian colonies that have had contact with humans. What kind of reports? Dahi hesitated. Request, forms, Commander. Colonies asking for human teachers, human doctors, human engineers. What? That is impossible. The reports are real. Colony 7 Beta asked for human medical specialists to help with a plague. Colony 12 Gamma requested human agricultural experts to improve their food production. Colony 4 Delta wants to establish a human cultural center. Hana felt cold. How many colonies? 17 so far, Commander. And the requests are increasing. What do the humans want in return? That is the strange part. They are not asking for much. Usually just permission to study our culture and technology. They seem more interested in learning about us than in taking things from us. Hana stared at the screen in horror. This was worse than military defeat. This was cultural conquest. The humans were not forcing Valdorian colonies to change. They were making them want to change. Show me the colony reports, the detailed ones. Dahi pulled up several files. Hana read them with growing alarm. Colony 7 Beta reported that human doctors had not only cured their plague, but taught them new ways to prevent future diseases. The colony's death rate had dropped by 60%. Colony 12 Gamma said that human farming techniques had doubled their food production. Their people were healthier and happier than they had been in generations. Colony 4 Delta reported that human art and music had become extremely popular. Young Valdorians were learning human languages and customs. They are changing us, Hana whispered. Not through fear or force, through improvement, Commander. Do you not see it, Dahi? This is how they conquer. They do not defeat you, they make you better. They make you want to be more like them. Is that conquest? It is the most effective form of conquest possible. When you defeat an enemy, they hate you and wait for revenge. But when you help an enemy become stronger and happier, they become grateful. They become loyal. Hana thought about Jiho, sitting in his cell, calmly explaining human philosophy while designing impossible machines in his head. Not trying to escape or fight back, but simply being himself. Being curious and helpful and strangely optimistic. And she realized that she was starting to like him. Starting to respect him. Starting to wonder if he might be right about better ways to solve problems. Commander, Dahi said softly, if humans can do this to our colonies, what will they do to the rest of the Empire? Hana looked at the screens, showing human expansion across the galaxy. Everywhere they went, other species became stronger, smarter, happier, and more human. They will not destroy us, she said. They will do something much worse. What could be worse than destruction? They will make us want to join them. For the first time since becoming a warrior, Commander Hana felt true fear. Not the simple fear of death or pain, but the deep, complex fear of fundamental change. The Maur fear that everything she had believed about strength and power and conquest might be wrong. And the worst part was that she was beginning to hope that it was wrong. 3 days had passed. Hana found herself returning to the detention level more and more often. She told herself it was part of her duty to monitor the prisoner. But the truth was more complicated. The human confused her, and Hana did not like being confused. She entered Jiho's cell again. He was doing something strange with his hands, moving them in patterns like he was building something invisible. What are you doing? She asked. Mental exercises, Jiho explained. I'm designing a better air recycling system in my head. It helps pass the time and it keeps my mind sharp. You are designing things here? In a prison cell? Ideas don't need tools, Jiho said. The human brain can create entire worlds just by thinking. We call it imagination. Hana sat down. Over the past few days, she had grown used to these conversations. They were unlike any interrogation she had ever done. "Why don't you fear me, human?" she asked again. It was the question that haunted her thoughts. Jiho looked at her carefully. "Would you like the real answer? The complete answer?" "Yes, it might take a while to explain. I have time." Jiho leaned back against the wall. "To understand why humans don't fear the way other species do, you need to understand where we come from. Our world. Earth. I have read the basic reports. The reports don't tell you what Earth is really like," Jiho said. "They list facts and numbers, but they don't explain what it means to grow up there." He closed his eyes for a moment like he was remembering. "Earth is beautiful," he continued. "But it is also trying to kill you every single day. The weather changes without warning. Storms that can destroy entire cities. Earthquakes that split the ground open. Volcanoes that cover the sky with ash. Ice ages that last for thousands of years. Many worlds have dangerous weather. But Earth has more than weather. It has predators. Creatures that hunt humans for food. Bears that can crush your skull with one swipe. Big cats that can climb trees and swim rivers. Snakes with poison that kills in minutes. Spiders, sharks, crocodiles." Hana was interested despite herself. "How did your species survive?" "By being afraid," Jiho said with a smile. "Fear kept us alive. It made us careful, it made us watch for danger, it made us work together. But you said you do not fear." "I said I don't fear the way you expect me to. Let me explain." Jiho stood up and began walking around the small cell. When a human child sees a big dog, they feel fear. That fear makes them careful. They learn to read the dog's body language. They learn when it is safe to approach and when to stay away. Eventually, many humans learn to love dogs. Fear taught them respect first. You make friends with your predators? We make friends with everything, eventually. Horses used to be wild animals that could kick us to death. Now they help us work and travel. Wolves used to hunt us. Now we call them dogs and they live in our homes and protect our children. Hana shook her head. "This sounds impossible." "It is what humans do," Jiho continued. "We feel fear, but we don't let it stop us. We use it to learn. Every monster becomes a puzzle to solve. Every danger becomes a challenge to overcome. And if you cannot overcome it, then we adapt. If we can't beat something, we avoid it. If we can't avoid it, we learn to live with it. If we can't live with it, we find a way to use it." Jiho sat back down, facing Hana directly. "Your people use fear as a weapon because it works on most species. But humans have been dealing with fear for millions of years. It is not our enemy. It is our teacher." "What did it teach you?" "That the universe is full of dangerous things, and that dangerous things can be understood. And things that can be understood can be dealt with." Hana leaned forward. "You are saying you are not afraid because you understand me?" "I'm saying I'm not afraid because fear without understanding is useless. Fear with understanding becomes wisdom." "What do you understand about me?" Jiho was quiet for a moment, thinking. "You are a warrior from a species that has been successful for a long time. Your people are strong and have powerful abilities. But I think your success has made you limited." "Limited how?" "When you can make any problem go away with fear, you never learn other ways to solve problems. You never learn to negotiate or compromise or cooperate. You just make everyone too scared to argue with you." "That sounds efficient." "In the short term, yes. But what happens when you meet someone who isn't afraid? What happens when fear doesn't work?" Hana felt uncomfortable. "That does not happen. It's happening right now," Jiho pointed out gently. "You are just one human." "Yes. But I'm not special. Any human would react the same way. We've all grown up with fear. We've all learned to work with it instead of being controlled by it." "Your entire species is like you?" "More or less. Some are braver, some are more cautious, but we all learned the same lessons growing up on Earth." Hana stood up and walked to the cell door. She needed to think about this. "Commander," Jiho called out. "Can I ask you something?" "What?" "What happens after you conquer a species? After you defeat them with fear?" "They serve the Empire. They provide resources and labor. Do they do good work? Are they creative? Are they helpful?" Hana thought about this. They do what they are told. But nothing more. Why would they do more? They are conquered. "Exactly," Jiho said. "Fear makes people obey, but it also makes them stop thinking. Stop trying. Stop caring. You get slaves, not partners." "Slaves are enough? Are they? What if you could have allies instead? What if conquered species wanted to help you because they believed in what you were doing? That is not how conquest works." "Maybe not. But it's how cooperation works. And cooperation can accomplish things that conquest never can." Hana left the cell with her mind spinning. Everything Jiho said challenged the basic ideas that Valdorian society was built on, but she could not find flaws in his logic. That night she could not sleep. She kept thinking about what the human had said, about fear being a teacher instead of a weapon, about understanding instead of terrorizing. She thought about Earth, a world so dangerous that its children learned to befriend their monsters. She thought about humans who had survived ice ages and predators and natural disasters and somehow decided that the best response to fear was curiosity. And for the first time in her life, Commander Hana wondered if there might be better ways to be strong than making others weak. The thought scared her more than anything she had ever encountered. The detention cell was designed to break spirits. It was small, dark and cold. The walls were made of black metal that absorbed light. There was no bed, no chair, no comfort of any kind. Most prisoners would be crying within an hour. Jiho sat on the floor with his legs crossed. He was looking around with interest, not fear. He touched the walls with his fingertips. "This metal is fascinating," he said to himself. "Some kind of composite material. It feels warm despite the cold air. There must be heating elements built in." Hana watched him through the security cameras. She had been watching for 2 hours now. The human had not cried. He had not begged for mercy. He had not even asked for food or water. Instead, he had spent the time examining every inch of his cell like it was a puzzle to solve. Commander Minho entered the observation room. He was older than Hana and had more experience. His armor was decorated with marks of his many victories. "How is the prisoner?" he asked. "Strange," Hana replied. "Very strange." "Strange how?" Hana showed him the security footage. They watched Jiho discover that the floor panels could be lifted slightly. He was not trying to escape. He just seemed curious about how everything worked. "Maybe he is broken," Minho suggested. "Some creatures break when they face fear they cannot handle. Their minds stop working properly." "I do not think so," Hana said. "Look at his eyes. They are clear and alert. He is thinking all the time. Then maybe he is drugged. Humans use many chemicals. Perhaps he took something to make himself brave." Hana had thought of that too. But she had scanned him when they brought him aboard. No drugs, no implants, no modifications. He was completely natural. "I want to question him," she said. "Be careful," Minho warned. "Sometimes the strange ones are the most dangerous." Hana entered the cell. Jiho looked up at her and smiled. "Hello again," he said. "Thank you for bringing me here. This ship is incredible. The gravity feels exactly like Earth normal. How do you manage that? Do you have rotating sections? Or is it some kind of artificial gravity field?" "I ask the questions here," Hana said. Of course, sorry. What would you like to know?" Hana sat down across from him. Even sitting, she was taller than he was. "What is your name?" she began. "Jiho. I told you that already. What is your job?" "I'm an engineer. I design and maintain life support systems. Air, water, power, heat. The things that keep people alive in space." "Why were you hiding in the tunnels?" Jiho looked embarrassed. I was trying to fix a problem with the air recycler. When your ships arrived, I was deep in the maintenance areas. By the time I heard the alarms, it was too late to get back to the main areas. I thought it would be safer to wait. You were not trying to escape? Escape to where? Jiho asked. We're in deep space. Even if I had a ship, which I don't, where would I go? Your fleet would catch me in minutes. This was true, but most prisoners still tried to run. It was instinct. Fear made creatures do stupid things. Why are you not afraid of me? Hana asked. Should I be? Jiho asked back. I mean, you could hurt me if you wanted to. You're much stronger than I am. But you haven't hurt me. You've given me food and water. This cell is actually quite comfortable compared to some of the places I've slept. Hana leaned forward. I could kill you with one hand. Yes, you probably could, but why would you want to? What would that accomplish? It would show you that I have power over you. But you already have power over me, Jiho pointed out. You captured my station. You have me in a cell on your ship. You can decide what happens to me. Killing me wouldn't give you more power. It would just waste a resource. A resource? Information. I know things about human technology, human culture, human thinking. Dead people can't share information. Hana stood up and walked to the wall. She pressed her hand against it and let her fear power flow through the room. The air became thick with terror. The walls seemed to press inward. Most prisoners would be screaming by now. Jiho watched with interest. There it is again, that tingling feeling. It's stronger this time. Is it some kind of electromagnetic field, or is it purely psychic? It is fear, Hana said through gritted teeth. Pure fear. It should be driving you insane. I can tell you're trying to make me afraid, Jiho said. But it's not really working. I mean, I can sense that something is happening, but it feels more like static electricity, or that feeling you get before a thunderstorm. Hana increased the power. She poured all of her fear ability into the small cell. The air became so thick with terror that even she felt uncomfortable. Jiho frowned a little. That's a bit unpleasant, he said, like a headache starting. Could you turn it down a bit? Hana stopped the fear projection and stared at him. In all her years as a warrior, she had never met anyone who could resist Valdorian fear power. It was impossible. What are you? She whispered. I'm human, Jiho said simply. Just human. Humans are weak. The reports say you have no special abilities, no natural weapons, no psychic powers. The reports are right, Jiho agreed. We don't have any of those things. Then, how are you doing this? Doing what? Not being afraid? Jiho thought about this for a moment. I guess I am afraid, in a way. I'm concerned about what will happen to my friends from the station. I'm worried about my family back on Earth. I'm uncertain about my future. But that's not the same as being terrified. What is the difference? Fear is information, Jiho explained. It tells you that something might be dangerous. But then you have to decide what to do with that information. You can let it control you, or you can use it to help you think better. All creatures fear death. Yes, we do. But we also know that being afraid of death doesn't prevent death. It just makes the time before death more unpleasant. Hana felt frustrated. This conversation was not going the way interrogations were supposed to go. Your people will surrender when they learn what happened here, she said. Maybe, Jiho said. Or maybe they'll try to rescue us. Or maybe they'll try to negotiate. Humans do a lot of different things when they're scared, such as... We get creative, Jiho said with a smile. Fear makes us think faster. It makes us try new things. It makes us work together better. Some of humanity's greatest achievements happened because we were afraid of something. That makes no sense, doesn't it? Think about it. If you're never afraid, you never have to overcome anything. You never have to grow stronger or smarter or more careful. Fear is like exercise for the mind. Hana left the cell feeling more confused than when she entered. She returned to the observation room where Minho was waiting. Learn anything useful? He asked. I learned that humans are more strange than our reports suggested. Strange how? They think about fear differently than we do. Minho laughed. All prey animals try to convince themselves they are not prey. It means nothing. But Hana was not so sure. There was something in the human's eyes, something she had never seen before. It was not fear, but it was not stupidity either. It was curiosity, and somehow that seemed more dangerous than fear. The alarm bells stopped ringing. Commander Hana stepped through the broken doorway of the human research station. Her heavy boots made loud sounds on the metal floor. Behind her, 20 Valdorian warriors followed in perfect lines. Their black armor shined under the bright lights. Their red eyes glowed in their helmets. Hana looked around the main room. Papers were scattered everywhere. Computer screens showed error messages. The air smelled like burned metal and fear. At least, it should have smelled like fear. Every other species they had conquered left that smell behind. But here something felt different. "Commander," said one of her soldiers. His name was Taiho. He was young but good at his job. "We found 12 humans. They are all in the holding area now." "Any problems?" Hana asked. "No, Commander. They gave up quickly, just like the reports said they would." Hana nodded. The reports about humans were very clear. They were a weak species. They had no natural armor, no claws or sharp teeth, no psychic powers. They were supposed to be easy to control. The Valdorian High Command had called this mission a training exercise for new warriors. "What about the station's data?" she asked. "Still working on that, Commander. Their computer systems are strange, different from what we usually see." Hana walked deeper into the station. The humans had been studying this gas giant for 3 years. They were looking for new types of fuel. The Valdorian Empire wanted that fuel. They also wanted to show the humans that resistance was useless. She stopped at a large window. Outside, the gas giant spun slowly. Its surface was covered with orange and red clouds. It was beautiful in a deadly way. The storms on that planet could destroy entire fleets. "Commander," another soldier called out. His name was Wu Jin. He sounded worried. "We have a problem." Hana turned around. "What kind of problem?" "One of the humans is missing. We counted wrong. There should be 13, not 12. Hana felt her anger rise. Losing track of prisoners was not acceptable. "How did this happen?" "We think he is hiding somewhere in the station. These human stations have many small spaces, tunnels for maintenance work." "Find him," Hana ordered. "Search every room, every tunnel, every storage area." The soldiers spread out through the station. Hana decided to search the lower levels herself. She knew how to track hiding enemies. Her people had been doing it for thousands of years. The lower levels were darker. The lights flickered sometimes. She could hear the station's machines working. Air recyclers, power generators, water pumps. It was like walking inside a giant machine. She found the entrance to the maintenance tunnels, behind a loose panel. The opening was small, even for a human. She had to bend down to look inside. Her armor made it hard to move in tight spaces. There were sounds coming from deep in the tunnel, small scraping noises. Someone was definitely hiding there. Hana smiled. This would be easy. She sent out her fear wave, a psychic attack that all Valdorians could use. It filled the air around her with terror. Most species felt it and became too scared to move or think. It was like a weapon made of pure fear. "Come, out," she called into the tunnel. "You cannot hide from me. I can smell your fear." But she could not smell fear. That was strange. More scraping sounds came from the tunnel. Then a voice spoke. It was calm and curious. "Hello? Is someone there? I'm a bit stuck. Could you help me?" Hana was confused. The voice did not sound scared. It sounded polite. Maybe even a little embarrassed. "Come out now or I will come in and get you," she said. "Oh, okay, just give me a second. I'm trying to turn around, but this tunnel is really narrow." There were more sounds. Then a pair of legs appeared at the tunnel, opening. The rest of the human followed. He was covered in dust and oil. His clothes were torn. He looked young, maybe 25 Earth years old. He stood up and brushed the dust off his shirt. Then he looked at Hana with bright, interested eyes. "Wow," he said. "You're much taller than the pictures showed. Are you Valdorian?" This is amazing. I'm Jiho, by the way. I'm an engineer here. Hana stared at him. This was not how prisoners were supposed to act. She increased her fear wave to maximum power. The air around her became thick with psychic terror. It was strong enough to make most creatures fall down and shake. Jiho blinked a few times. He tilted his head to one side like he was thinking about something. That's interesting, he said. I felt something just now. Like a small electric shock, but not painful. Is that some kind of Valdorian technology? How does it work? Hana could not believe what she was hearing. No one had ever asked her how fear projection worked. They were always too busy being terrified. You should be afraid of me, she said. Her voice was low and threatening. Should I be? Jiho asked. He seemed genuinely curious. I mean, you're obviously very strong and well-armed, but you haven't hurt me yet. Are you planning to hurt me? I am a Valdorian warrior, Hana said. We are the most feared beings in the galaxy. I've heard that. Jiho nodded. Your reputation is quite impressive, though I have to ask. That armor you're wearing, is it grown naturally or is it manufactured? The way it curves around your joints suggests it might be biological, but the surface texture looks more like advanced ceramics. Hana stepped closer to him. She was more than 2 feet taller than the human. Her red eyes glowed brighter. Her clawed hands moved to the weapons on her belt. Most beings cannot even look at me without shaking, she said. Really? Jiho looked surprised. That seems inefficient. I mean, if everyone is too scared to talk to you, how do you gather information? How do you negotiate? How do you learn about other cultures? We do not negotiate, Hana said. We conquer. But conquering is just one way to get what you want, Jiho said. There are usually better ways, less violent ways. Ways that don't make everyone hate you. Hana felt something she had never felt before. Confusion. This human was not acting like any creature she had ever met. He was not afraid. He was not angry. He was not trying to fight or run away. He was just talking to her, like they were having a normal conversation. She grabbed him by the shoulder. Her clawed hand could have crushed his bones easily. But she did not squeeze hard. You will come with me now, she said. Okay, Jiho agreed. Can I ask where we're going? To my ship. You are now a prisoner of the Valdorian Empire. Interesting, Jiho said as they walked. I've never been on a Valdorian ship before. Do you think I could see the engine room? I'd love to know how your faster-than-light drives work. The alarm on the bridge was not the sharp, urgent sound of battle stations. It was the steady, calm tone that meant incoming communication. Commander Minho looked at his displays with surprise. A human fleet has arrived, he announced to the bridge crew. They are requesting permission to communicate. Hana felt her heart race. She had been dreading this moment for days. How many ships? 7 vessels. They appear to be civilian craft with light escort protection. No hostile actions detected. They came for him, Hana said quietly. For the prisoner? How did they find us so quickly? Humans are good at finding things, Hana replied, remembering her research. What are they saying? The communications officer, Sunghyun, looked up from his station. They are asking to speak with our commander. They say they want to negotiate for the return of their engineer. Negotiate? Minho laughed. We hold all the power here. We have their people. We have superior weapons. What could they possibly offer us? Permission to find out, sir? Sunghyun asked. Minho nodded. Put them on screen. The main display showed the bridge of a human ship. The captain was a middle-aged man with kind eyes and graying hair. He wore a simple blue uniform with no decorations or marks of rank. He looked more like a teacher than a military officer. Greetings, the human said with a polite bow. I am Captain Junho of the Earth vessel Harmony. Thank you for accepting our communication. I am Commander Minho of the Valdorian Imperial Fleet. You are trespassing in claimed space. We apologize for any inconvenience, Junho replied calmly. We are here to request the return of our engineer Jiho and the other personnel from Research Station Kepler 442b. They are prisoners of war. There was no war declared between our peoples, Junho pointed out. In fact, our governments have had no official contact at all. We would very much like to change that. Minho leaned forward in his command chair. You are in no position to make demands, human. We are not making demands, Junho said with a smile. We are making an offer. What kind of offer? We understand that your people are warriors. You value strength and capability. We respect that. In exchange for the safe return of our people, we would like to offer you something that might interest you. Such as? Junho gestured to someone off screen. A moment later, a woman in a white coat appeared beside him. She held a data tablet. This is Dr. Heejin, our chief medical officer, Junho said. Doctor, would you explain the breakthrough? Dr. Heejin bowed politely to the screen. Commander Minho, our research team has developed a treatment that can extend Valdorian lifespans by an average of 200 years. It also improves physical strength and mental clarity during those extended years. Hana saw Minho's eyes widen slightly. Valdorians typically lived about 400 years. Adding 200 more years would be an incredible gift. What do you want in return? Minho asked suspiciously. Just our people back, Junho said simply, and perhaps the opportunity to establish formal diplomatic relations between our civilizations. You would give us this medical technology for free? Knowledge improves when it is shared, Dr. Heejin said. Keeping it to ourselves would be wasteful. Minho muted the communication channel and turned to Hana. What do you think? Is this some kind of trick? Hana thought about everything she had learned about humans over the past week. I do not think it is a trick. I think it is exactly what they say it is. A fair trade? No, Hana said quietly. Something much more dangerous. Before Minho could ask what she meant, Seongyun called out from his station. Sir, I am detecting additional human ships arriving. 12 more vessels. Battle formation? Minho demanded. No, sir. They appear to be cargo ships and passenger transports. Junho's voice came through the speakers again. Commander Minho, I hope you do not mind that we brought some additional support. We have engineers who would love to study Valdorian technology, if you are interested in technical exchanges. We also have artists, musicians, and chefs who would be honored to share human culture with your people. You brought tourists? Minho asked in disbelief. We brought friends, Junho corrected. People who are excited about the possibility of meeting a new species. People who want to learn about your history, your art, your way of life. Hana walked to the communication station and activated her microphone. Captain Junho, this is Commander Hana. I have been caring for your engineer. May I speak with him? Of course. Jiho asked me to give you his regards, by the way. He said you had very interesting conversations. A few minutes later, Jiho appeared on the screen. He looked exactly the same as he had in his cell, calm, curious, and oddly happy. Hello, Commander Hana, he said with a genuine smile. I hope I was not too much trouble. You were... Hana paused, searching for the right words. You were educational. I hope so. I learned a lot too. Your ship's design is really impressive. The power distribution system is much more efficient than anything we use. Even now, even while being rescued, he was still trying to learn about Valdorian technology, still treating his captors as potential teachers instead of enemies. Jiho, she said, your captain is offering us medical technology. Why? Because sharing knowledge makes everyone stronger, Jiho replied. And because we would like to be friends with your people. We conquered your station. We took you prisoner. You were following your orders and protecting your people's interests. I understand that. It is what any responsible military would do. You are not angry? Angry? No. Curious, yes. I would love to learn more about Valdorian culture and history. Your people have accomplished incredible things. We could learn a lot from each other. Hana felt that familiar sensation, the feeling that the ground was shifting under her feet. The human was turning even his capture into an opportunity for cooperation. Commander Minho, Captain Junho said. We do not require an immediate answer. We know this is a big decision. We can wait while you consider our offer. How long will you wait? Minho asked. As long as necessary. We are patient people. And if we refuse? If we decide to keep your people? Then we will be very sad, Junho said simply. But we will continue to hope that someday we can find common ground. You will not attack us. Attack you? Commander, we came here to make friends, not enemies. Violence would defeat the entire purpose. Hana stepped closer to the screen. Captain, may I ask you something? Of course. Why are you not afraid of us? Your people must know about Valdorian military power. Junho smiled the same kind of smile that Jiho always wore, patient and understanding. Commander Hana, we know that your people are strong and capable warriors. We respect that strength, but we also believe that the strongest people are those who know when not to fight. And you think this is one of those times? I think this is a time for building bridges instead of walls, for finding out what we have in common instead of focusing on our differences. Hana looked at the display showing the human fleet. 19. Ships full of people who had come not to fight but to make friends. Scientists and artists and engineers who wanted to share knowledge and culture. People who saw a military confrontation and decided to turn it into a first contact celebration. She thought about Jiho in his cell, calmly explaining human philosophy while she tried to terrify him. She thought about human colonies that turned enemies into allies. She thought about a species that had learned to use fear as a teacher instead of a weapon. Commander Minho, she said quietly, I recommend we accept their offer. Why? Hana looked at her fellow officers. She saw the confusion and uncertainty in their eyes. They were warriors who had built their lives around the idea that strength came from making others weak. But the humans offered something different, something that might be better. Because, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, they are going to do it anyway. Do what? Make us want to join them. Whether we accept their offer or not, they will keep trying to understand us, keep trying to help us, keep treating us like potential friends instead of enemies. And eventually, she paused, feeling a strange mixture of terror and hope. Eventually, we will want to be the kind of people who deserve that treatment. The bridge was silent except for the hum of the ship's engines. Everyone was staring at her. Commander? Minho asked. They do not conquer through fear, Hana continued. They conquer through hope, through curiosity, through kindness, and that is the most terrifying weapon in the universe. She looked at Jiho's face on the screen one more time. Why don't you fear me, human? She whispered. Jiho's answer was the same as always. Calm, honest, and devastating. Because fear is just the beginning of understanding, Commander. And understanding is the beginning of friendship. We would love to be your friends. As Hana stared at him, she realized she was shaking. Not from fear of death or pain, but from the terrifying possibility that everything she had believed about strength and power was about to change forever. And for the first time in her life, she found herself hoping that change would come soon.